Everything is white with that acrylic-y sort of shininess. And the air, I'm inside somewhere, and the air smells like it's been filtered. It's not like fresh air coming in from outside. It's like some kind of filtered system.
What are the first feelings or impressions that you have?
Everything's very clean and shiny. I just can't tell what this area is. It's like not a normal shape. It's like got angles coming out of different places, and it's not like a square room. It's like a room with weird angles, and then there's another room off, sort of, there's something off in there. But there's not like, I'm looking for furniture. I'm trying to see what the room really looks like, because I just see white, shiny surfaces. It doesn't look like our kind of houses. Well, I guess it must be a house because I keep comparing it to houses. It's like an angle that comes out from a corner, but it's like to be used as a chair. It's like this weird thing. It just comes out and you can sit on it, and then maybe there's like might be like a table over here. There's nothing on any surface though. I mean, it's all white and perfectly clean and shiny, and it's nice and bright, but there's no decoration, there's no color, there are no pictures, there's nothing.
But it's intended to be like built-in furniture?
Seems like. It seems like that's why it's there.
I was going to ask, what do you think the purpose of the space is? It seems residential? Or is there some other purpose?
Well, I'm questioning whether it's a prison-y type thing, because I don't know where there's an exit. I haven't looked, but just...
How do you feel being there?
I don't seem to have any emotion either way. I feel like I'm in the future, to be honest. I don't... As soon as, we started traveling, I went the opposite direction I normally go. Like normally, I go up and I go this way. This time I went up and I went this way. I feel like there's something at the top of the walls, like, I don't know, it's like glass or something, like so that you could see how, I mean, you can't really see because it's up so high, but at the top of all the walls it's like a strip of, not white, I guess it's just clear up there.
Can you see beyond that, through it?
It's just dark right now. And the door's over here. And this is like a little living area, and then there's something. There's like, you go in. It's all very jaggedy. It's nothing smooth. Like these angles come out. And then there's something in there, but it's all zigzaggy. I don't know what's in there. Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I feel like this isn't the only one. I feel like I'm in a complex full of these. Like, there's a lot of them.
Do you want to look down at your feet? See if you have anything on your feet.
I can't tell if there's something covering them or my feet just look weird, like dull feet without, you know how they're like they're just rounded over and then they're flat on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But I may have like slippers or something on.
No toes?
No anything. It's just a smooth. But it does. I think I may have slippers or some kind of shoes on. But I've got white pants on and some kind of white long. When I look at what I'm wearing, it reminds me of what maybe not related, but it reminded me of the longer jackety type things that in the future when I looked at what our government would be like, there wasn't a president, it was a council, but it wasn't a council of politicians. It was like a council of people like Mother Teresa and Gandhi and Jesus and
Cool.
that kind of heart-centered people, but they were wearing not business suits, but they all had light-colored jackets that were long. And so I'm wearing this long white thing, and I've got white like leggings on. Looks like.
Is there symbolism to the color white? Or meaning?
It's very clean, I guess. I was wondering maybe if we don't use dyes or something for some reason.
Is there anything of any color there so far?
No.
You've only seen white.
Everything's absolutely white. Everything. There's no color at all. Well, except my whatever. If I'm wearing slippers, they're not white. They're like beigeish pink. Not quite skin color. Darker. Almost mauve,
Now look at your hands in front of you. Stretch your hands in front of you and look at them. And see if you're holding anything or what your hands look like.
Give me a second. I can't tell. They don't look right. They keep changing. At first I thought I was sort of Asian-y looking, like I have black hair. But a thought popped into my head that maybe this is a sterile environment because there's something wrong with me, and the white is to make sure there's no like blood or weird, nothing. They can tell immediately if there's anything not right.
Is it a hospital?
No, but it's a special purpose building. It's a special purpose area. Like I'm here for a reason. It's not just my house. It's not just that this is how people live in the future. Like there's some reason I'm in this space. And other people are here in this space. It's not a prison. It's not a hospital. It's like we have a special job, and so we all have to, we don't have to, but it's optimal if we are all in these kind of rooms.
Can you leave if you want?
Yeah, but I don't want to because it's not. Because out there, I don't, like I have some kind of special purpose, and I can't use my gained knowledge and mastery of whatever it is I do. I can't use it if I go out in the general population. I would be bored. And I feel like I have nothing to do. It's like I don't enjoy the everyday stuff like the other people do. I'm trying to figure out what I do. Whether I do it by myself or with a group or... I was looking around for like, well, do I meditate? Well, it doesn't look like a very comfortable place to meditate. There's no cushions or anything to sit on or anything. And then I thought, well, maybe I transmit information mentally to people. Well, first I thought maybe I and the other people there receive information and then we give it to somebody or to the people or something. And so I was looking for something, do I write this stuff down? And then I realized, no, we just transmit it. So I'm wondering if it's all sterile because there's no mental stimulation or anything that would block us from receiving whatever information we receive. And then apparently we can mentally connect to each other, like without having to call anybody or go next door or anything. I can just check in with these people and say, or transmit to them, not say, because it's not just words, it's like complex thought forms or something. It's like a big lump of information just shows up. And then you connect with other people, and if they got other information, then you connect it all together. And then it goes to a central location that is supposed to be benefiting everybody.
What kind of information?
That's a good question. It's just the answers to anything that anybody out in the general population needs the answer to. How do we keep these crops from dying? How do we, stop this river from flooding this area? How do we blah, blah, blah? And it just shows up. It's like... It's like we're downloading information from a higher intelligence. and then we're sending it into some kind of artificial intelligence computer. There's like a copper looking gigantic ball thing in the center of this place where we are. And we're all sending the information into this thing. But it's got an electrical component or electromagnetic component to it. And somehow it's connected to a system where people can access the answers to these things somehow.
So you're like Google?
I am.
Spirit guides, or?
Yeah, I'm like Google. I'm getting the info from higher up, or me and these other people are, and then we're just transmitting it for the good of mankind. Because we're not quite evolved yet enough for everybody to just access it naturally. So it takes certain people with we have to want to do it for one thing, and then you have to be able to do it. And then that's just what we spend our time doing. That's our job. That's our job.
Do you have a personal life?
No, because we have to. Nope. Mm-mm. I mean, we can go look outside and enjoy the air or whatever, but we don't collect things and look at television and stuff like that. I don't have a family that I live with.
But you're human?
As far as I can tell.
Are you male or female?
Female. Short, Asian, dark hair. Older. Sometimes when I looked at my hands, they looked all gnarled, like I was really old, but then they didn't. I don't know. My face doesn't look very old. I'm not young, but I'm not ancient.
Do you have decorations anywhere on your body?
That's interesting, because that version of me answered you. It was like, what would be the purpose of that? She is no nonsense. She is I receive the information, I transmit the information. It has to be pure or it doesn't help. I can't have an ego, because my ego would interfere and try to manipulate the information that comes in, and that doesn't help people. And I want to help people, so this is the weirdest thing ever.
Is it an
So
enjoyable or
bizarre.
satisfying thing to do?
Oh, she loves it. She is just like, this is my purpose, and she just do it all the time. She loves it. She doesn't miss any of it. She doesn't see life in the general population. To her would be just so awful. She would hate it. She doesn't want colorful things on her walls. She doesn't want stuff or flowers or, even food. It's like there's a table to sit down at, but I don't even think she eats like that. I think she's just given some kind of nutrition in some way, and she doesn't care. She doesn't want flavor or texture or anything, she just, it's all about receiving and sending. Comes in, it goes out, comes in, it goes out.
What are some of the other important events in this life?
Seeing myself as a toddler and them realizing that that is my thing, that I can it's weird. It's like I feel a connection to kids with autism and Asperger's when they stare off into space. it's not because they're not thinking, it's because they're thinking such complex things. And it was like that, but only in that time period they get it, they understand what it is.
What time period is it?
I suck at dates, I don't know. 2277 or 3277 or 3377, I don't know, it's 20 or 3077. 22 or 32 or 33 or 23, I don't know. There's 3s and 2s at the beginning and 7s at the end. Doesn't seem like that far away, really, but... I mean, the world is still really similar. There's more tech, but... Let me see if I can... We still have buildings and streets and people going to work and doing stuff.
Where are you on the globe?
I'm trying to zoom out and look. I don't know.
Is there a name for what you do?
Yeah, but it's in another language.
Do you speak that language?
Not in this life. It's
Can she translate for you?
Borgish or something. What does that mean in English?
What's the word?
Borgish. It's like a combination of a seer and a computer processor. And we don't have a word for that because we don't have those things here.
And what's the ultimate purpose of that activity?
To help mankind.
To help them do what?
We are the bridge between spirit that the majority of people can't or don't want to access, to tap into. They don't want to take the time to do it. So we act as their bridge. When they have questions, we ask, we receive clearly without any ego interference, because we don't have any personal interest. So, for example, we couldn't try to do an example. Like if someone wanted to know how to get somebody to be interested in them, like romantically. Well, they already want this person to be interested in them. So when they're asking spirit, their ego is saying, whatever spirit gives me is going to be what I like. It's going to be an answer I like. So they're going to have a filter. It's got to come through the filter of, this has to be what I like. So that message comes through, but then your ego, tweaks it to be what you like, and then so you don't get the message clearly. But with these people, the bridge people, they don't have the ego. They don't have an interest in this. They ask the questions, they get the answer, they feed it into the central system for people. We're like the spiritual internet or something. It's so weird.
Of course you'd be a part of that.
That's the weirdest concept ever. I gotta write a book about this now because this is so weird.
Are there any other events in that life that are important? Have you done this since you were a child? Or?
Yeah, once they know that that's, your thing. At any time, if you change your mind, you can go, back out in the general population. I might have tried to do that. It looks like when I was in my early 20s, I tried to live with my family maybe, and it was just too much. It was too much stimulus. It's almost like I, have some kind of thing that, like I came into the life with the purpose of doing this. Like that's what I wanted to do when I came in. And so I came into a body that can't handle a lot of external stimulus. Like people with, whatever I just said the name of that thing was. Not Asperger's, but the other one.
Autism?
Yes. It's like I went into a body that had this, didn't like a lot of stimulation, so that I could be put into this sterile environment, and so I could just focus on receiving and passing along the information. It's supposed to bump humankind's evolution to speed it up, because the way our culture has gone, the way our culture has developed, the whole culture would have to be completely broken down and restarted in order for all of us to connect to the higher source of information, or the source of all knowledge. So, since the general consensus of all souls that are doing the earth thing don't really want to scrap the whole world and start over, this is like a patch to get us to evolve without having to wreck everything first. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Why would it be wrecked?
Well, because our culture, our various cultures around the world, don't. We have a monetary system. We go to work. We have laws. We have money. And because all these structures are in place, and all these structures have been built over time, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years, we've built up this whole lattice of structure of all these things that are interwoven. And these things don't allow for the spiritual connection to all knowledge. It's not. Our minds are too caught up in this lattice. I mean, we have all these different things to think about constantly. We have all these things to think about, all these things to do in this life that we've built, all the cultures around this way of life, and there isn't a way to there's no way to have all this, all the way everything is, and the way everything continues to evolve. There isn't a way to have that and the connection to the source of all knowledge for daily use. People can't do that today. and it, it's just continuing. I mean, it's been like this for thousands of years. It's not changing. So here are your choices. Wreck all of civilization and make it in some way that we can all have plenty of time to sit around and think and connect in and feel and connect in with that source, which means the annihilation of all of our current systems, which have developed over thousands of years. Nobody wants that because, wow, we've been working on that for a long time. Or let's bridge the gap and bring this knowledge down. And when we bring this knowledge in a clear way, then everybody can see, oh, that makes so much more sense, yes. And then it's clear to them. It's not clear to us right now. We can't see any of that because there's too much culture, history, there's too many systems that we participate in. We get up and we go to work. We, go to schools. We have jobs. We have obligations. We mow our lawn. These are all things that we have to do. We have to go to the bank. We have to do our laundry. There's too many things. We don't have time to... It just doesn't work.
How do people connect with your services?
Through this... It's an artificial intelligence. We put it in the memory banks of that. And I think there's a holographic interface. It could be a person. I think they can change it. It's like their computer in their house. Only it's not a keyboard and a monitor and a desk. It's just like you walk over to the wall and you go, how do I blah, 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 blah. And then, if you set up your holographic interface person to look like Tweety Bird, then Tweety Bird pops up and says, well, you need to blah, 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 blah. Or if it's, male figure or female figure, whatever, an alien, it can be whatever. You get to pick. It's like a fun thing. You get to select how you want it to look. And then it just tells you because we've gotten that information direct from source, from the source of all knowledge.
Is there any danger of misuse of that system?
We weren't given the ability to do this until we passed the point of destroying each other. I mean, we're at the point now where you don't, the only reason people go to war is they feel they're not loved, or there's a loss of something that they want, or, well, that's it really, the loss of something they want. I mean, you take loved ones away, you take money away, everybody's supported during that time. You have jobs, but not because you have a car payment. I mean, that's not why you go to work, because you have to pay your mortgage. Everybody's taken care of. You go and do whatever you like because you enjoy it. And you do it because you enjoy contributing to the bigger picture, the bigger puzzle. So basically, there's not anybody to misuse it because there's no reason to misuse it. Everybody's already got what they want. So, and the only other people that might misuse it are the people who have, like, in our time, it would be like people with a brain tumor who suddenly flip out and shoot a bunch of people. Or suddenly do something really evil because there's chemically something screwed up. But we don't have any of that either. I mean, that's all, medicine is not actual medicine anymore. It's like scans and cellular fixes. There's no surgeries or anything. So
it's advanced beyond that.
yeah, We don't need pills or vitamins or blah blah. It's just, there's some kind of scanny thing that oh, your cells are irregular in that spot in your brain. Scan fixed. New cells generated. You're fine. It seems like they do have a hospital, but it's only for people who go in space, and if something happens to them in space, or for the odd accident, if it would ever happen.
How do they prevent accidents?
Well, there just aren't that many jobs that have dangerous aspects to them. Technology's just improved, or advanced to such a degree that there's not really a lot of danger to anything anymore. I mean, people aren't fearful like we are now. I mean, if you fall and break your ankle like Rob, and then you're sitting in the ER for 6 hours, and then you have to get it manually set, and there's drugs you have to take first, but you have to stick yourself with a needle, which hurts. There's all this pain and fear involved with getting hurt. But in that time period, there's not really, you can still hurt yourself, but there's a more, you get it fixed really quickly and it doesn't hurt. There's not like long-term healing and blah blah. There's not any of that anymore.
What's the lifespan?
That's a good question. I don't see any old people. I don't think we have to age. I'm looking for old people. I guess there's some.
Do you also not have to die if you don't have to age?
People are still dying, but it's more like 200. It's more like at 200, and it has more to do with, although the people in that time will say the lifespan is 200 because that's all the body can do, that's all the cellular regeneration you can do before the body dies. That's not the truth. The truth is that when you go in, you just plan. Like everybody has sort of agreed, because there's a sustaining of the earth proponent to it, or aspect to it. So the souls, the collective souls, have agreed about 200, and then just go. So they don't really die of disease. They just, the theory is that the cells just, you can't regenerate them more often than about to the year 200. This is crazy stuff.
Do you have any relationships?
My connections are to the people that I work with, and it's a deep connection because you're inside their head. I mean, you can't get any more intimate than everything. You can talk to each other in your mind, and it's not just passing words, it's passing emotions and whole chunks of memories you can share with other people. I'm not lonely at all. I'm not like, I never ever once went, gee, this is a, bland, white, gross, horrible, sterile place. What am I doing here? That thought never ever crosses my mind. This place is like, to that version of me, is just like Disney World. That's like the best thing I can think to ever do in that life. I cannot imagine anything more exciting than that. Oh my God. I would go crazy in this life, living in a white, sterile... Blech.
Do you want to go to the last day of your life
Okay.
and experience how your spirit leaves the body?
Well, I went out, and then I saw that my body was laying there in the middle of the floor, and I didn't want it. I wanted to be more, what's the word? Efficient. Like I wanted to be disposed of in a more easy way, so I was trying to figure out where I should put. So I went back into the body, and then I put myself somewhere so that whoever had to dispose of the body would have the easiest possible job at doing it. I don't know where that is, but... And then I went out again. So I went out, saw my body laying there, went back in, moved it, and then I left. But it's like I'm hovering above going, okay, yes, that looks good. I'll leave it like that.
What lessons did you learn in this life?
I feel like I have to go somewhere else first to know that.
Okay. Well, what is important for you to know about your present life?
That life was about living a very clear, very specific purpose. Very specific. Very clear. There were no doubts. There were no issues clouding it. It's very drilled down, very laser focused. I'm asking, why is it important for me to see that? Something about they thought I would appreciate better the extremely wide variety of experiences in this current life based on that one future life where it was so narrow and so specific. So I have all this variety to enjoy in this life. And not saying I should appreciate it, but that I might enjoy just noticing that there are so many aspects to it. There's so many things that go into this experience, and this experience is all about kind of like the opposite of that. I get to do whatever I want. I get to choose any kind of experience I want, and I can have it. I'm not limited at all. There's not like a specific path that I need to follow. I am supposed to just do everything I can think of that I want to do. Grow flowers, take a trip to Europe, visit castles, fall in love 100 times, paint, sail, fly, anything, have children, go drink coffee, I can just go, I can do whatever I want, and they're telling me I've been feeling limited, and they want to show me what limited is, because I'm not limited right now. I am not at all limited right now. That's very helpful, actually.
ask one more question about this time. So what about children? Do they come about the usual way and usual situations, or is that different there?
Oh yeah, I think people still have children. But there's not any desire to have like 8 children. I mean, if people want to, if somebody wants to experience having children, they normally just will have one. And it doesn't seem like very many people have that desire. But the people that want to experience children just go to places where children are. And there's no skeeviness about it because there's no bad guys, really. So, I mean, there's no fear around strangers interacting with children. So there are a lot of adults that look after your kid, if you want.
So there aren't population issues?
Not really. This may be just based on something I must have read something lately about floating cities. Not sure if they're floating in the atmosphere or floating in the ocean or both. So there isn't really a population issue. Even though people live longer, they still go at around 200. And people aren't having as many kids as they used to.